What's going on tonight? All right, so we're going to jump into optimization and how to best optimize. And this is mainly for mobile, since you don't have to optimize quite as much for desktop. So optimizing for um, mobile in general. So what we have here is a really old project that I did years and years and years ago. I was just learning Construct 2. I didn't really understand much about anything back then. So the coding in this is awful. The images I used were not optimized whatsoever. Just a whole lot of mistakes. So I actually went back over this project just this week and fixed it up and recompiled it with Cocoon.io and re-uploaded it to the stores. So with that being said, I figured this would be a good project to jump into for optimization. And the biggest thing with optimization when going for mobile is video memory. There's not a whole lot of video memory on most tablets and phones. So that's one thing you really have to watch out for. So if we go ahead and run this project right now in the debugger, you'll see right here it shows me that it's using 21.6 megabytes of video memory in images. Okay, now that's not a totally accurate number, but it at least gives us something to look at and can kind of work off of. So this is a very high number for what this game is. Okay, so we're going to close that. And I'm just going to, let's jump back into Construct. I want to just read real quick something that Skira posted on their website. And I'll just read it in case it's kind of hard to look at, or kind of hard to read on screen. But many mobile systems don't support images which are not power of 2 in size. For example, 32 by 32, 64 by 64, 128 by 128. To work around this, images will be placed in memory on a power of 2 size texture big enough to fit it. And then they give an example of a 1920 by 1080 image will be placed in a 2048 by 2048 size texture. Okay, and this means that it will use 16 megabytes of memory, about double, on a system with even tighter limits. Construct to automatically sprite sheet smaller images on export to save memory, but such large images don't benefit from this. So, and that's true. What Construct 2 does is it takes images and it will create a sprite sheet that is smaller in size and put a bunch of images inside that sprite sheet. Now, there are some limitations to this in the way Construct 2 does it, and I will explain that here in a little bit. But just here's a quick breakdown of, let me make this a little bit bigger, a quick breakdown of how much memory you're using with your power of 2 images. So keep this in mind, okay? If you're working on mobile, you're probably going to be spending a lot of larger images around like 512 by 512 or 1024 by 1024 if you start getting into Retina. Hey, Tacker, how's it going today, mate? So if you are doing a lot of Retina stuff, then you're going to get into those even larger memory sizes. So here's your power of 2 to video memory conversion kind of table. Okay, and I'll pop this up and off as we work through this old project of mine. So yeah, Tacker, basically I have this old project of mine that was not optimized at all when I created it years and years ago. I just went through and re-optimized it. So what I'm kind of doing is showing a power of 2 and how Construct 2 does stuff. So if you look, the way that I let's use, for example, this was before there were sprite fonts. So I just basically have all of these images, and again, I didn't know what I was doing back then as well either. So I have all of these animation frames, 59 of them for my timer. And they're all 64 by 64. Okay, and you would think that that's good, right? They're 64 by 64, so they'll fit nicely on a sprite sheet. And this is font turns, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and export this real quick. For my stream. And I'll show you what Construct2 does with these images. So you'll see font sheet turns. So font turns. It's created two sprite sheets, 1 and 2, that are both 512 by 512. Okay? Now, if you think about it this way, if the images are 64 by 64, right, on a 512 sheet, let's do the math real quick. So let's bring up Excel. Okay, let's just do this. So let's imagine this is our sprite sheet, right? So 64, 512 divided by 64 equals 8. So essentially we should be able to fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So we should be able to fit all of those in there. So that's 8 times 8. So that's 64 sprites total that should fit on that sprite sheet. However, you'll notice that it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have two sprite sheets here of that size. And the reason is even though they're 64 by 64, when Construct2 exports, it actually needs to have, I think I figured about 2 pixels of padding. So if we redo this project real quick, okay, if I take this and I resize all of these images to 62 by 62, and I'll apply this to the whole animation. You see these are all 62 by 62 now. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and export this again. And I'm going to call this stream optimized. We'll open this up. Now we look at these images. You'll see that font turns. Now everything fits on one sprite sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With a little bit of room to spare. So, looking back at our chart, we just saved 1 megabyte of video memory by doing this. Okay, because that's one less 512 by 512 image that had to be put into memory. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not running my cool overlay tonight because I'm doing more of a teaching thing tonight. So guys, feel free to chat, talk it up. I can't really tell who's in there because I don't have little sprites bouncing around. So say hello. Feel free to chat it up, ask questions, whatever you want to do. Okay, so you won't notice a big difference on that. Before I was at what, 21.6? So now I'm at 21.4. So it did go down a little bit. Okay, and the problem is all of these things are like this. So if I do the resize on all of these, 62, 62 to all of them. And that's font time. Actually, I think Construct2 is smart enough now to combine them. I think it only has two separate ones because... let me see. Well, let's see. Let's see what it does. I thought if it determined that the sprites were the same, that it wouldn't create two sprite sheets. But it does still. Wait, oh. One other thing is when you're doing stuff like this, like optimizing, is when you re-export, it does not delete what's in here already. So I'll make sure you export to a new folder or delete the folder that's already there, or any images that didn't get changed will stay in there. It's not going to delete them for you. Cool, Rage Paint Games. So you see this one actually still, one, two, oh, this is the other one. I want time. Yeah, you'll actually see that it removed. Let's go back to images. Okay, so yeah, Construct2 automatically knew when fonts are the same, and it kind of shares sprite sheets. So by actually changing this other one, it didn't really affect anything. Okay, but changing this one will, because this one has different sprites. Now these are a little weird because they're not all squares. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to resize them all to 62 by 62 anyways. They may look a little scrunched. And well, wow, got a lot of stuff open. While that does that, I'm going to go into my optimized. I'm going to delete that again. Oops. And we'll see that there was two sprite sheets for, for those images. And we'll see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What did I do wrong on those? E turn, let's see. Time S. Oh, what it did is it actually made smaller sprite sheets. Times F of maybe just the ones that were different. Made 3 smaller ones and then it left these alone. Huh. I don't think it did that when I was testing this out earlier. Let me see. Of course, when I did it earlier, I went ahead and changed everything. So anyway, you get the idea. You get the idea, and we'll see by changing that one, we shaved off another 0.2 megabytes. Okay, and then again, like this image here, right now is 293 by 512. So that's actually going to fall in the 512 by 512, right? That's what it should fall in. Let's go ahead and have a look at our images. And yeah, it did fall in that. So it's when it's a single sprite, then you don't need that padding. It's only when it's combining a bunch of sprites into one sprite sheet. And one other thing to mention is Construct2 will not combine animations to make like the most efficient sprite sheets. So for example, if you have a character that has a whole bunch of animation sprites, and then you have another character that has a whole bunch of animation sprites, if this one only uses half of a 512 by 512 and this one only uses half of a 512 by 512, it's still going to keep those separate. It's not going to try to combine them. Okay, so single objects will have, and I should say objects, not sprites. Objects will have sprite sheets, but that will combine animations and whatnot. But separate objects won't share sprite sheets. I hope that makes sense. So keep that in mind as well. So if we take this guy, he's actually fine because he's in the 512 range. He's using a megabyte of memory. Alright, these guys are 640 by 960, which that jumps up to the 1024 by 1024 range. And I just realized I had this up the whole time, so you guys should shout at me to close that up so you can see what the heck I'm doing. Hey, Stitches and Smiles. Thank you, Tacker. I was a little slow getting that off. So, yeah, sorry about that. I think I was just talking through most of that. But I was saying is single animations or single frames don't need to have the padding. You only need to have that 2-pixel padding when there's multiple sprites on one sprite sheet. Okay, so this is a big one here. So this is all of my card faces for this memory match game. And you'll notice that each one of these is 183 by 256. So what Construct has done is it's actually created, it's put them all on their own sprite sheets. So they're basically taking up 256 by 256, which is 262 kilobytes of memory per image. Right? So now you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, say 16 images. That's now 4 megabytes of memory. Right, so let's try to deal with those real quick and see if we can optimize those a little better. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to resize these to, wait, that one was, why does it say 258 on here? Is that really what size that was? No. 183 by 256. Oh, that first one is a weird size. I might have done that though. So 183. I'm going to change these all to 254. Alright, so they've all been reduced. Let's come back over here. Let's delete our Opti folder. And now let's export the project and see what it has done. It actually decided that it wanted to keep those all on separate sprite sheets, which is fine. Because what it's saying is if it puts 2 of them on a 512 by 512, if we bring our chart up again, so it can only fit 2 on a 512 by 512, which is actually going to be twice as much as using these separate images. So Construct 2 is very smart in the way that it does its exporting. Okay, but what we will notice, since we reduced those sizes just that little bit, actually it shouldn't make too much of a difference on our memory load. Yeah, it doesn't because of the 256. So our big issues in this game are, let's take a look back at our export here. And we can see where kind of our problem childs are. So we've got these 2 big ones, all of these backgrounds. Okay, these are all a 1024 by 1024 sprite sheets. So we're talking 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes. These are some interesting ones here. It's got those two in 512 by 512. If we look at those, they're 256 by 133. So let's try reducing those. What I tend to do when I'm optimizing is I kind of just go through and stuff like this that has multiple animations or multiple frames, I'll just knock off the two pixels. Notice for the most part you won't notice that difference in your image. But if it helps at all with the exporting, and these I don't think it will because there's only two. But we can try it real quick. Just because I think this is really cool experiments and stuff to try to do to optimize your games. So let's see, did that optimize any? So it did. It decided to put them each on a single sprite sheet. So before it had them on a 512 512, but now it went ahead and put them on a single one. So we reduced each pair by about half. So that's a pretty good savings, I would say. All right, let me close some of these windows up again. So if we run now, just by doing those few little titles there, actually that's not a good judge because our title screen was not what we were loading before anyway, so this probably won't change. Now we're still at 21.2. I didn't make note of what our title screen was before. So yeah, so the big ones I think are going to be these backgrounds. And the fact that we have 3 of them. Our high score images. Let's see what else we have that is not optimized. Yes, maybe the backgrounds, we really can't do a whole lot with those. One thing we can do is we can decide that we don't need 3 different backgrounds for this one. So what we can do is go into our other layouts and just use, say, the same background that we used in the other ones. Let's see. I need completed memory match. Right? Let's say we decide to do that for all of these. Actually, I want to do it this way instead. Actually, I want to delete that and use number 1. 320 by 480. And same thing on layout 3. I'm going to delete this one. Use number 1. And then let's delete 2 and 3 from here. And we'll go ahead and run that. 21.2 because that's per layout, but that's saved as in download time, or saved as in having 2 extra images in our game, right? I'm gonna load up my the last one that I worked on for this game, which is right here. I'm gonna see what I got my layout down to. And for some reason that's running. Wait, what? Oh, wrong one. No, not wrong one. I opened the wrong project. Hold on a sec. There's not really a mobile game sweet spot, unfortunately. Which one? Oh, I have a new folder, that's why. So this is the one I recently did. I optimized. Let's see, I got it down to... Oh yeah, hold on. New Cocoon plugins, you can't test in game. So I got it down to, well, 26.2. I wonder if I'm showing the wrong project to begin with. Come on. So anyways, but you can kind of see, wasn't a great example of saving memory, but you can at least see the way Construct 2 works, how it tries to create the sprite sheets, and how I was able to eliminate sprite sheets. So on a really big project, you can see how this will make a huge difference. And I'll show you an example real quick. I did a game a while back called Hungry Hal, and this one took me about 2 months to optimize. I don't think I have an exported version of it, so let me just open. Gosh, I don't even remember what the latest one was. Let's try this one. So let's see, let's go to the main game. So you can see, for example, there's these characters with lots of animations, death animations. Okay, this is pre-optimized because you can see her death animations are 256. And when I optimized, I went through and I updated all these. So let me export this, and we'll see how. We'll see how Construct 2 handles this guy. This one might take a little while, so I'll catch up on chat. You auto crop the image C2 makes a 1 pixel border when you auto crop. Oh, on that one that got funky, yeah. I thought I hit a button, I couldn't tell what I'd hit, so yeah, that must have been it. Mobile game sweet spot. No, I mean it depends. I mean, there's so many different sizes. It's so hard. If you've watched my YouTube tutorial on screen size resolution, that's pretty much what I stick with and how I do each game. So let's go ahead and take a look in here. And we'll see if we can find that girl. This one actually is pretty optimized, I think. Maybe not. Let's see. Here's Hal. So see, here's a 1024 by 2048 by 2048 sheet. Actually, a good way to tell is I remember what I actually got this game down to. So right here, so yeah, this is my optimized one. I was actually running at about 180 megabytes, or 208 megabytes before I started optimizing. And just mostly by going through what I showed earlier, by checking the images, looking at how stuff's exported, taking a look and seeing kind of where you can maybe shave a pixel or two off some stuff to compress them into better sheets. That's basically how I shaved about 100 megabytes off of this project. It's pretty crazy. Let me see if I can find an earlier one. Oh, referring to the megabyte range? Again, not really. I mean, this game, like you showed, it's about 102. I think when it's actually loaded on the devices, it's maybe 140. And with Cocoon, it will give memory warnings like while you're playing. And Cocoon JS, the old one, did a good job of dumping memory that wasn't images that weren't being used at that time. And then if they were needed again, it would reload them real quick. So you would see some memory warnings. So again, it depends on the devices. And this game is almost a year old this Halloween, so devices have probably come a long way since then. I'm just curious if I can find an older one of this to just kind of show how I did some of this stuff. So this would have been... No, man, these are... None of these are old. Yeah, none of these really... Let me open this one up and see what it looks like. This one's at 99, so that one's a little bit better than the last one I showed. I'm surprised I didn't keep some of my older ones around, just to take a look at. But basically what was happening with this game is I noticed like these sprite sheets, like for HAL, I would have like, there was like 3 times as many sprite sheets as that are here now. And it was all kind of that 1 pixel, 2 pixel difference. That I shaved off, and it was able to fit so many more on each sheet that it basically cut the amount of sprite sheets in half. So, and each one of those sprite sheets being loaded into memory, it was able to shave off a whole bunch on the optimization there. I'm a little bummed because I thought I had a good project with that memory match game, but I could have swore when I went through it the other day I had cut it down quite a bit. So interesting. Yeah, it's about the same. So, but hopefully that at least helps explain stuff. And if anybody has any questions on the power of 2 stuff and the optimizing of the game, please feel free to ask. Because I actually I had put quite a lengthy post about it on the forums long ago. I can see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. No, that's not what I wanted. Here it is. If you guys want a link to this, I can link it. So, Oh yeah, it was a lot of the UI stuff is when I first started noticing how they weren't fitting. So if we go back and look at where's the UI stuff? So yeah, see, these were actually getting put on, I think, 2048 by 2048 sheets instead of 1024 by 1024. So bringing this up, you can see how much video memory that shit saved for each one of these. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 of these, so it shaved off a whole bunch. So, you know, it's really important when you're optimizing to take a look at that images folder after you export. Just kind of look and see if there's any way you can shave some space off of anything. See, I noticed it on this. I noticed it on some of my text. So yeah, if I can post this in the chat if anybody wants to read that a while ago. Yeah, and again, Tacker, it depends. Especially for animations, I think, where it's going to try to squeeze a bunch of frames onto one sheet, as optimized as it could. If it's just a single image, then like I said, don't worry about it. I mean, try to get it power of 2, but you don't have to subtract the 2 pixels. Because like I was explaining before, I don't know if you were in here yet when I was explaining this part, but it'll only create sprite sheets based on objects. So if we take a look at my Hungry Hal, you'll see that each human has its own sprite sheet. It doesn't use this like empty space and put objects from another, or sprites from another object in this empty space. So every object is kind of separate. You can see it here like in the crates. Now, even though these are 2 different sprites, they're all the same object. If you go here, see, they're all the same object. It's just different frames and animations. So as long as it's the same object, it'll try to put it all on one sprite sheet. But anytime it's a new object, it'll start a new sprite sheet. So keep that in mind when you're doing it as well. And keep this chart handy, because just looking at it, you can say, I mean, I can look at this and be like, well, why is my helicopter, you know, why is my helicopter on whatever? You can tell me how big it is. On separate sheets. Why didn't it put it on, you know, squeeze 2 of them on a 1024 sheet and then 1 by itself? And then you start to do the math and you realize, well, it's actually saving time or saving space by keeping them separate and using 3 512s rather than 1 1024 and 1 512. So like I said, Construct 2 is very smart in that aspect of the exporting. It's just that extra couple pixels you really got to watch out for. It could be. I think I actually tried 1 pixel and it still didn't work, so I went to 2. I don't remember why, but you could try 1 pixel first and see if it makes a difference. Puzzle, yeah, you know, it depends on the hard thing about using Construct 2 and going to mobile is it doesn't export natively. So you have to find a wrapper that will, and Ice Cube's really good at it. No, I'm just kidding. An HTML5 wrapper that will wrap the game. Basically what the wrapper does is it's a browser, kind of a standalone browser that wraps itself around the HTML5 game and creates a native app based on that. There's a few out there. There's PhoneGap, Intel XDK, and Cocoon JS, and they're now coming out with Cocoon IO, which is the same company, which I've pretty much only used Cocoon. And this project, Hungry How, was probably my biggest one, and it runs pretty much, after the optimization, it runs pretty much flawless through the old Cocoon JS. I'm going through and I'm updating all of my mobile games to the new Cocoon IO now. I'm actually going to be doing a lot of stuff on this stream with Cocoon IO, you know, in-app purchases, Game Center, Google Play games, what else? Game Center, all that stuff, with Cocoon IO and their Cordova plugins. So that's going to be a big part of the stream as well, because a lot of people want that. And Cocoon, the Lude people that make Cocoon actually approached me and asked me to do some stuff. So they kind of opened up my Cocoon account a little bit to where I can play around a lot more. I have direct access to the support guys, so I can get everything kind of planned out. So as I'm going through all my mobile games and uploading them to Cocoon IO, I'm learning a bunch, and hopefully by the time this process is done, I'll be ready to start pumping out videos for that. So, but again, it depends on the game, how big it is. You know, but building for mobile is always going to be harder, just because you always have to take that optimization into consideration, and the slower CPU and less memory and all that fun stuff. But let me know what project you are you're thinking about making with it, and maybe I can give you an example of somebody that has done it or somebody has tried it and failed. You know, there's several games on Steam that were made with Construct 2 that are pretty impressive. So I don't think that chart is on Skira.com, but I'll tell you what I can do is I will take that image. Actually, let me just let me make a new one real quick. That's just the this part. I'll take out the funky coloring. And then I'll share this one with you guys on the Dropbox. There you go. Now you got it. Yeah, it does. I'm actually going to be doing a stream on networking as well. It does. It uses WebRTC. There's also a sockets plugin, and I believe there's a plugin for. Is it Photon? Is that a third party? Or that's Unity. There's a different networking thing for Construct 2 also that somebody made a plugin for. Thought it started with a P. Darn it. If anybody in the chat remembers, shout it out. I thought it was Photon, but maybe I'm thinking of Unity. What is it? Because the one thing, I mean, I've tried the networking quite a bit for Construct 2, and I find it extremely difficult to do like a lot of like kind of live action stuff. It works incredible for turn-based stuff. I mean, it's so easy to use for turn-based stuff. But I had a really hard time learning like the lag. Hold what's it called? Basically, the where it guesses how much lag there is, so where stuff should be, and lag compensation. I had a really hard time getting that to work properly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it can't do it, and you're probably a lot smarter than I am, and you can probably figure it out. I just struggled with it, but you can look and see what kind of WebRTC mobile games there are out there, and if they've got stuff working good that's live action, then I don't see any reason you wouldn't be able to do it in Construct 2. But I really want to know what that other multiplayer plugin Construct 2. I really want to know, because somebody said it worked really, really well. Darn it. Darn it. Oh, is it phaser? Is that a thing? No. Phaser's like an engine, right? Man, now this is gonna drive me nuts till I find it. Multiplayer plugin. You know what? I posted something. I posted questions about the not too long ago, so I bet I can find it. There it is. Multiplayer lag compensation. Photon Cloud. Apparently there's a plugin for Construct 2 for this. Photon Cloud. Yes, there's HTML5. And if you go back to Construct 2 and search the forums for Photon plugin, there you go. Photon plugin. So somebody has made one. The Photons. Oh, the actual Photon guys made a plugin for Construct 2. So that might be easier to use if you're doing live action. You might check out that. Oh, you're welcome. So here I'll pop that in the chat so you get that. So check that out too. As far as I know, I have not seen an actual multiplayer game with Construct 2 as of yet. The only thing I've really seen is my overlay. If you ever watch my stream during the day, I have this whole kind of arcade overlay where I do a bunch of fun stuff. The overlay uses the multiplayer plugin. I have a host that uses it, and then I have a bunch of mini games. I'm pretty sure you've been on my channel during the day. I have the mini games that you play, and they connect with the host. They connect with the overlay, and that all uses the Construct 2 multiplayer engine. Basically, all that's doing is sending text messages back and forth, essentially. So, but yeah, check this out, and yeah, stay in touch, man. Let me know how it goes, because I'm really curious to hear how you did with it, and how it works, and if it works better than the regular one. So yeah, I was gonna do some stuff with the debugger tonight too. I'm not sure how many guys are interested in that. The debugger is not available in the free version, I don't think, so it might not help you out much, Puzzle. But definitely stick around the stream, definitely the coming weeks, because the guys at Skira gave me 5 personal licenses to give out. So I may do some little competitions, maybe. Not really just a random select, because that's a big ticket item. Maybe do like who can make the best game with the free version in a week or something, and then we can judge them and play them or something like that. So I'll come up with an idea for that. Awesome. But yeah, the debugger in Construct 2 is really, really good. I'm actually gonna fire it up. So let me, might not be the best game to show the debugger on, but it's definitely my biggest game. So, so you can see here the debugger, you can actually break it out so it's a separate window, which is nice. And then all these little eyeballs, any one of these eyeballs that you click on, it'll add that item to your watch list. So if I want to know how many brains and bones and what my game speed is set at, I can click those, then I can click the watch icon and actually watch that separately. I could drag this up to my, my second monitor, and I can watch those separately. So that's a really cool aspect of the debugger. Shrink this game down a little bit so we can fit everything on the screen here. Oops. Where you at? There you are. So yeah, so you can actually watch stuff live that way. The inspector shows all of your objects, whether there's any loaded at all right now or not. But you can see them. So they're all currently 0. And if I find any of my credits, so you can see right here, I'm not sure where the second one is, but you can see right here that when you click on it, it actually shows the bounding box. Okay, it's just some features don't work. Okay, well that's cool that it's there. Oh, and it shows, don't rely too much on this frames per second, because it's gonna run much slower in debugger than it will not in the debugger. But like I was explaining earlier with the optimization, this is a good key indicator of at least how you're doing with your memory management of your images, and whether it's running in WebGL or Canvas. Okay, so if we go ahead and play this, you'll see that the system needs to be reloaded there. So we can run this, and I can go ahead and I can pause it pretty much at any time. I can do frame steps, which is nice, but I can pause it and look at things. So there's my backdrop. I can tell, I had a bug at one point where I noticed my CPU utilization was shooting way up. And for some reason, each one of my backdrops were like double or triple loading. So I was looking here and I was like, why is there, 4 of these loaded right now? And then you can kind of select each one individually, see where they are on the screen, and kind of determine what's going on with stuff like that. So it's really, really handy. In the System tab, you'll find your performance. Things to look out for in here are your poly checks per second, collision checks. You really want to keep an eye on those. If those are getting into huge numbers and you notice things running slow, then you've got some weird collision stuff going on. Your object count, again, like if you know you should only have about 40 or 50 objects on the screen and you got like 400, then something's happening there for sure. It has the properties for each layer. Has all your global variables listed here. And that's kind of what the system is for. So it's nice. I use this a lot. So if you go to individual objects, like if I go to Hal, where are you, Hal? What is your name, Hal? Is it player? I don't remember when I called you. Player. So if I go to player, if he has instance variables, I can look at his instance variables. Again, I can add them to my watch list. Any behaviors that he has will also show up on that individual object. So if you want to kind of see how the animations are going, you know, you can watch those, shoot them over here. It'll tell you all that fun stuff. So the debugger is really, really important. In the old days, you know, I wish even Game Maker's debugger is like, makes me scratch my head going, come on, man. So it's really nice, and it's so powerful, especially as your games start to grow. Just running it from time to time, taking a look at these numbers, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. You know, if stuff isn't working right or if something's popping in wrong or at the wrong time. I think debugging is like a very unlearned skill, especially for newer programmers, because it's so helpful. You know, and a lot of other, and even this before, the debugger is not that old. I mean, I don't remember which version it came out in, but it was not here when I started with Construct 2. So, you know, at that time, just like with Unity, you're doing a lot of debug log and, you know, show my frames per second on the screen, and, you know, when this happens, debug log some text so I know. But this just makes it so much more convenient. And it actually remembers your watch stuff when you close down and start it up again. It will remember your watch list. Well, when I'm on that. Oh, maybe it just remembers my global variables. Oh, because those objects are deleted in. Yeah, never mind. It does not remember your watch list of individual objects, but your globals it does. So, anyways. I love my scooter. Anyways, so yeah, the debugger. No, it's cool. Let me see. I'm trying to think of what, I had this, the same guy did everything, except for a lot of the text, I did myself, but, pretty much, well, let's see, no, I had a girl I found on Odesk from the UK that did all the character animations. I bought her a copy of Spriter, and, she learned it and drew all the characters and the pieces and then animated, and then I was able to go into Spriter and reanimate stuff some more. I honestly don't remember what I paid her. It wasn't a ton, maybe $200, $250 for everything. And then Mark, who did like everything else, I want to say all in all, I probably put about $1,000 to $1,200 in graphics for this, and then I think I spent about $100 on sound. I had a guy that I'm using for the rest of my games that had a bunch of people that wanted to do voice acting just for the credits, so I had them in the credits and they did all the voices for the characters. So yeah, it's not cheap, but to have somebody that's good, that knows what they're doing, It's so much nicer than just running around. And you know what? If my other games before this hadn't been successful enough to where I was able to kind of grow, I mean, that's kind of the way I've modeled the way I've done my indie dev. You know, getting personal here. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of indie devs just try to make like that one big game when they start. And I guess I'm fortunate because this is a hobby for me. So I was able to just make a small game and it did pretty well, and then use the funds for that to make another game that didn't do as well, but the funds from the first game, you know, were still coming in. So I've kind of been able to, each game I've done, grow it based on the success of my past stuff. So even though Hungry Hal was pretty much a flop, I mean, I probably about made my money back on it just selling non-exclusive HTML5 rights to it to a few different places. But besides that, the mobile never really took off. But still, I still have that original first few games that still bring in money, and I'm able to just kind of keep growing with each project. So I mean, I think that's really important. But like I said, also having a real job helps, and making this a hobby helps as well. So that's really important. Is there anything else about the debugger? I don't think I use any arrays in here. Now let me fire up another project. And you know, it's not even big games you have to make to make a little bit of income on your games each month. You know, my very first game was Word Search for Kids, which I just you know, re-uploaded with the new Cocoon.io. But yeah, I mean, this was the game I basically learned Construct 2 on. So it's very simple. There's not a whole lot. Let's see, the oh, that's a little too small. It's only 44 events for this whole project. But if you go into the debugger for this, I actually have arrays in here. So the way arrays even show up in the debugger. Now, 2D arrays, I wish they showed them better in the debugger. I don't have any 2D arrays in here, but they kind of look like this, except there'll be a comma and then the Y, or the height number, instead of like making it a grid. So that's one of my big pushes with Construct 3 is please make the array debugger make a little bit more sense. So yeah, that's how arrays look in there. Dictionaries look similar. Oh, you bet, man. I love talking about this stuff. So I love talking about it. But yeah, I mean, this game did really well for me, and it still does. I mean, it's been on the App Store for almost 4 years. 3 to 4 years. So, and then I have, it's funny, this one does, I made, I'll show you. So you saw what that looked like. And then I had Mark, the guy that did all my graphics for Hungry Hal, do all the graphics for Word Search for Kids 2 for me. So it looks like a million times better, right? I mean, it's like, I mean, it just looks like way better than the original one. But it's never really picked up like the original one, which is hilarious. So, but there's still hope. So, and a lot of it's luck, you know? A lot of it is just luck. Just keep pumping out games, and something will click. And they do. Some of them do take a while to pick up steam. I mean, I remember watching Word Search for Kids every day on ads and being like, "Oh, finally made a penny today," you know. And then the next week it's like, it's making 5 cents a day, yay! And then then it's making $3 and $5 and $10 a day, and you're like, whoa. So yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, it's it's a lot like gambling, you know. You get kind of that high from watching, putting it out there, and then just kind of cha-ching, and then watching the wheels spin and going, come on. I did not do any marketing on any game until Hungry Hell 2, or until Hungry Hell. And as much money as I put into marketing for that game, I realized I really don't need to spend any money in marketing, because it really did not seem to help one bit. Not a single bit. I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the first Word Search for Kids I did, I just threw it on the App Store. Had no clue. It did okay. Didn't do great. I started learning how to, research keywords and do some App Store SEO stuff to learn, which weren't popular, or which were highly searched keywords but weren't popular, and change some stuff around. And I made one change to it, and all of a sudden, boom, it exploded. And that's my best game on the App Store. But it's not my best game on Google Play. That's my spelling game for kids. For whatever reason, that game completely flopped on iOS, but on Google Play, it does really well. There'll be days it has 800, 900 downloads a day. It averages between 350 and 500 downloads a day. Why? Have no idea. Didn't do any optimization with it. Didn't do any keyword research. Didn't do anything. The only thing I can figure is the word spell is in my bundle ID, and I think Google Play plays a big part on the bundle ID in keywords. And somehow, if you type in spelling game or something, it comes up at the top. No idea why. No idea how. It just did. So, like I said, there's luck involved as well. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the Google Play version does have a link to. You mean like this? No. I thought I had. Maybe I took it out. I know I had it at one point, but Apple didn't allow it unless I thought maybe I took it off. At one point, I did have a link on the homepage that said try Word Search for Kids too. I don't think I saw a whole lot of feedback from it, so I didn't leave it. But Apple actually made me. I either had to take it off because it linked to an outside URL, even though it was to the iTunes App Store. I had to put a parent gate on it, they called it. So basically I had to put in some kind of a question that only a parent would know how to answer if you clicked on that link. And I think I just never got around to doing it. Because the iOS versions of those games are paid apps. They don't have ads, so they're just paid apps. So I don't know. I never put it on there. But I probably should. I don't know why it's I don't know why I took it off of the Google one as well. I honestly don't. But I do remember putting it on there. Oh, this is an old version. Anyways, but yes, it's a very good idea. I should do that. I honestly cannot remember why I eventually took it off. I don't know if maybe Google sent me a message about it being on there as well. I'm not sure. Who knows? Maybe I couldn't get it to work with Cocoon.js when I updated, because the very first version of Word Search for Kids and Let's Spell, they were done in the early PhoneGap, because they weren't real action heavy, so they worked fine through PhoneGap. And that was, I think back then, I don't even know if Cocoon was out yet, or I couldn't get it to work, or PhoneGap was the only option. So yeah, they were all done with PhoneGap. So maybe when I converted to Cocoon.js, there wasn't a way to do an outside link. Maybe. That's my best guess. And so here's my PhoneGap one. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. Probably trying to do some ads. Anyway. Yes, exactly. There are some restrictions, at least Apple Store. You can't even put ads on it if it's in the Apple Store, if you mark it as a game for kids. And then once you mark it as a game for kids one time, you can never have ads on it. So yeah, Google doesn't care. They don't care at all. So that's interesting. All right. If there's any other questions, guys, fire away. If not, I think I got through most of the stuff I wanted to get through today. Hopefully the optimization made some sense. And hopefully the stream's going well. I know there's not a whole lot of people come in, and I found it kind of interesting that I had some thumbs down on my second video, which is kind of not normal for me. So I'm not sure if people are liking this or not. So let me know. I mean, I know it's a lot more kind of casual, a lot less scripted, a lot more ums and fumblings and things going on, but I enjoy doing it. So not sure what I'm gonna do on the next one. I'm not streaming Thursday as normal. I have another engagement, so Thursday will be off. Sunday morning, I will probably stream for a little while, just kind of a little more casual. Maybe play some C2 games live. That'll be fun. I'll probably fire up the overlay, do some giveaways. I hope by maybe Sunday to have some kind of a plan of attack to give away some personal licenses. But I'm going to make you guys work for it. I'm not just going to click a button and be like, you won. You're going to have to earn it. So if you've got the free version, I really want to focus on people that have the free version, that don't have a license already. I don't want those people getting another license, because that's not fair. Who wants that? So if you have ideas, I'm thinking maybe come up with kind of a theme, kind of a little mini game jam of something to make with the free version, and like a real general theme, like arcade. Make an arcade game with the free version, and then yeah, we can do something like that. I think that'll be cool. With any other ideas, let me know. But I think I hit it all. So, what am I going to cover next Tuesday? Did my music stop? I need to find my list. What do you guys want me to do next Tuesday? I should have a pretty good grip on Cocoon by next Tuesday, if that's something you guys all want. I could do some little multiplayer stuff. I have a list of stuff I want to do on stream. I believe it's in Word. Schedule times. Let's see. Optimizing debugger is done. Local storage, high scores, and more. Should I do that next week? Oh, Steampunk Ball is the my latest project in Construct 2. I can fire it up real quick. It's a currently two-player local multiplayer game. Has gamepad support. It's not going to look very fun right now because I'll be playing against myself. There's no AI. So essentially, you are these guys. You collect these gems. The more gems you have, the higher you can jump. And the goal is to get the basketball up there into the hoop over here. Now you can use gems to use grappling hooks. Oops. Ah! Oh, what I was getting stuck on. It's really running really choppy right now. Weird. So anyways, you get the basketball and then you try to shoot it over here. And when you miss, you can use a gem and send a bird to steal it back. Or you can actually throw bombs. Sticky bombs. Sticky bombs, and it'll blow the ball out of your hand. So anyways, you get the ball and shoot it over the hoop. It's pretty early. It's pretty early still. Anyways, something like that. Oh, you can dash too. That also costs gems. So anyways, that is Steampunk Ball. So yeah, that's coming along nice. We got a couple stages done. Yeah, Steam will be the home for this if and when I finish it. I haven't worked on it in quite a while. I'm working on this, and then oh, thanks, man. And then in Game Maker, I'm working on a top-down racer. I'll show real quick. I'm kind of learning Game Maker at the same time as I'm making this game. Project League Racing. So this is another arcade-inspired. This is a top-down racer. There's AI working in this, so that's good. They're kind of the first stage. They're kind of slow. This uses the controller as well. So this is like inspired by games like Super Sprint, Super Off-Road. It's kind of like a drift, top-down racer game. It's gonna be four-player local. And these little boxes are your like power-ups. I got power-up 1. I don't remember which one power-up 1 is. Let's see. Oh, that's a burst. So the burst you can use to knock people off. Oops. Oops. Come on now. So, yeah. Oh, alright. So I'll show you. This is a boost. So, ooh. Anyways. That's what I'm working on in Game Maker. So my daily stream is probably going to be me working on those games for the most part. So yeah. Good times. Well, we got some frame drops there. Did those just happen? Oh, not too many though. Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll kill the stream there. Hopefully there was some good information, at least in the beginning half, and then just me rambling for a bit in the second half. Oh yeah, the my Steam Concepts page. This is I hadn't done much. I didn't know about Steam Concept until recently, and I was like, well, I need to throw my steampunk game on here too. But it's actually really cool. It doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of support behind it yet, but you can basically put up any ideas you have for a game. It's not greenlight or anything. It's just concept. You could throw it up there, and then you get feedback from people, and you can just kind of build it from there, and then from there you can take it to green light or early access or whatever, if it gets green lit. But it's just a good place to throw up, not throw up. It's a good place to put your game up, and just see if there's any interest in it. So yeah, I prefer doing that. I'm not a big fan of Kickstarter and that type of stuff. I think too many projects just take money and run or don't finish, or I think once you get a handful of cash, it sometimes is hard to continue working on the project rather than spending that cash. So, so yeah, hopefully I'll start advertising this a little bit more as the stream grows as well. But I definitely want to put the steampunk game up on Steam Concept as well. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you for liking that, Tacker. That's very cool. Yeah, once I started working on the overlay for my stream like a month and a half ago, and that's been all consuming for me since then. And that's what Tom from Skira actually asked me to do, a stream on how to make a Twitch overlay with the free version of Construct 2. So that might be something else I should add. Oh, I did add it. Yeah. So I think maybe next week I'll touch on local storage, maybe making a high score table with local storage, since that's changed quite a bit since web storage, since it replaced web storage. So I'll hit that. If I have time, maybe I'll go into touch control. Actually, you know what? I'm going to combine, I think, arrays and this. I think that'll be a good combo, because you want to use arrays when you're doing storage or for high scores. So yeah, I'll do that next week. That'll be good. Oh, thanks, man. Did you see it? Were you on earlier today, or watch an old broadcast or something? Oh, but thank you. Yeah, it's coming along. I crunched a few more bugs today in it. I think I pretty much got it worked out. It kind of grew so much that that I actually run it on my older laptop here, and then feed it into my main laptop workstation here into Twitch through like a game recording box, at AverMedia box. So that way I can control it with one hand, because it kind of blew up a little bit. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's definitely grown. That's for sure. The website, my website's up now too. If you want to go to it and register, and register your username, your password, and your Twitch name, then you'll get to start earning quarters on the main stream, and then it kind of explains what all that's going to be on here. So But yeah, the high score challenge games are super fun. Actually, there's one of my stream followers that's on a lot during the day. His name is Mondu. He did like 4 of the mini games for me. He had a bunch of arcade games he had made while learning Construct 2, and I just added all of my multiplayer components to them. And he just finished another one for me. So all but one of the high score challenge games on the stream are made by him. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for jumping in tonight. I really appreciate it. Very cool of you. I think if you guys want, we won't do a raid or anything, but if you don't already watch 2D Game Devs, he's making this incredible, huge pixel game in Construct 2. Encrypted Cow is streaming as well right now. Apparently 2D Game Dev killed his computer, but you should definitely follow both of those guys. Cow is doing a lot of Game Maker stuff now, but Dave is doing a lot of Construct 2 stuff. So I think as far as I know, he's the only other person that streams Construct 2 besides me. So definitely check him out. You can help him. You can help teach him how to use functions and arrays because he hates them both. I have no idea how he's made this incredible game without using either of those things, but definitely check him out. Good stuff. So here's his link, and I will catch you guys on Sunday morning at some point. So be on the lookout, and see you guys soon. All right, take it easy. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it.